Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. My name is Ella and I am with Lena. And today we're going to be talking to you guys about relationships.
Yay!
So Lena, she can start us off. We're going to talk about self-love, what it means to truly love yourself, and how that trickles down into all of your other relationships. Okay.
Yeah. So, it is a bit different. Isn't it weird that we mostly always think about a romantic relationship when we hear the word relationship, even though we actually need to be our best friend, our lover, our soulmate, all first before we can have it in other people or appreciate our family and friends, or even like draw in new friends and kind of family like soul tribe and the real kind of romantic partner that's right for you. We first have to start to love ourselves and to see ourselves as valuable, worthy, amazing. We might still need to heal. Everyone has. Like, no one on this earth has ever healed enough. So, but I mean, if we start really living in love with ourselves, we see the love all around. And I think it's so important to share that message that really it is about loving ourselves from the inside out, and that it's not anything vain or anything that like you're arrogant if you say you love yourself, but it's actually the most important thing, because you're 24/7 with yourself.
Yeah.
So start looking for the good things within yourself and what you love about yourself, whether like it doesn't matter what kind of subject is about. It doesn't matter, like start telling yourself, oh, I love about you that you look this or that. I love that you can, I don't know, run fast. I love that you always have a smile for a friend. I love that you always, to yourself, and start building that relationship with yourself. And please try not to judge yourself, because we are all our biggest own critic. AKA, when a friend comes to you and is crying, you're like, oh, don't worry, that's nothing. Like, it's okay. But when you kind of in that situation with yourself, you're not that nice to yourself. So we need to start being all nicer to ourselves. And everyone is sometimes not that nice with themselves. Yeah.
Exactly. Beautiful. And I hear like a few points that I wanted to touch on. Judgment is so big, especially in this day and age. We have social media. It's always like on our face when like we're scrolling through Instagram. I see it many like women and also men, they struggle to see their worth because they feel that like they aren't as pretty as like that girl, or like they aren't as successful as like that man down the road. So they're always constantly comparing and like tearing themselves down apart, and also always like looking for the flaws within themselves. So it's important to take like a step back, and I feel a good way to start is maybe even write a list of like the things that you like about yourselves, and then also write a list of the things that maybe you don't really like about yourselves, and then take that list of what you don't like about yourselves and give it to your friend and see if they agree. Because I guarantee you they're going to be like, no, like you're crazy, like this is all in your head, like you're making up stories. And that is really going to help you change your perspective. Because if you think about your best friend and you think about all the bad things that you wrote down about yourself, ask yourself, would you ever say these bad things to your best friend, right? Like most likely 99% of us would say no. Like we just wouldn't do that. So from there, you can also start doing the inner work. Like, why do you feel this way about yourself? Like, for example, you say that like you're overweight. Like, why do you feel that? Who told you that, right? And a lot of the times these are things that have been imprinted to us by maybe other people. But like those other people, if they're saying nasty things to us, it's more than likely that they don't like themselves as well. So it's like when nasty people put like people down, they want they basically want you guys to like be down there with them, and you don't want that. You don't want those people in your life, and you should not take their advice. Always look at their life first before you take anyone else's advice. Yeah.
That's true. And you never know what actually goes on behind doors.
Yeah.
Closed doors. Like, you never know. So they can have the most prettiest picture life, but actually you don't know if they're crying every night. You don't know if they actually hate themselves, etc. And yeah, like you said, it's so, don't compare yourself with anyone else. Just compare yourself with who you want to be, and then try to go there a bit at a time. And maybe start with it one aspect of your life, which is maybe like, oh, I'm overweight, I'm not the healthiest person, like, if it's that case, and then you do like, okay, I may have a friend, or I look online, what is actually healthy food? How can I move in like a way of not stressing myself? Okay, I'm gonna take the stairs now, or like the simple steps, because at the end of the day, that is actually what can make the difference of your own. I don't even mean in a way, but of your own happiness, because you actually take care of yourself in a loving way, and not in a way of, oh, damn it, now I have to go run for an hour because no, just go with a simple way. And then maybe you love going, maybe you love taking the steps now. So when a friend is like, hey, let's go to the gym, like, oh, I'm going to go in the Stairmasters because I fell in love taking the steps, and then you create like a rhythm and like a ripple effect for your new life. And you start like changing your timelines to a better one.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all starts with you. It's about like having joy in like every moment. Even when you're in like those low points, go through them, because it's showing something about you. One of the things that I recently learned is to make friends with your shadow self, because it's actually your shadow self, it's part of you, but it's telling you, this is who I am not. So become friends with it, sit with it, and when you're able to like heal those spots, then that's great. You're going to be able to like channel in more light, and you're going to reach a point where you're going to be able to help others who might have like those similar like shadow traits or have gone through the same. Yeah,
that's so true. And talking about this just as a short other point, also pain is only there to show you there's something that shouldn't be there. Like, just like you said, like, it is negative in life is, you can't have light, you only have you need light and shadow.
Yes.
But so yeah, it's all connected. And that's the same thing with relationships. It's always like, you give energy, you receive energy, you give energy, you receive energy. And I mean, I'm just making the transfer to other relationships but yourself, which are like, on one side I would put like your friends and family, and even there you can have like, and sometimes sometimes you don't have the choice. You may have a narcissistic person in your group that you can't really get rid of to a certain extent, because it's a family member. So
right.
But then you have to learn to keep a distance, heal with it, etc. But for example, with your friends, who can become like your family, like or more like your family, there you attract your tribe. And you may even know, I mean, probably all of us, if you're grown up watching, we had friends from school that we're no longer friends with.
Yeah.
Whereas some friends, they stick with us they will stick with you for your lifetime, because it's still on the same vibration. You're still connected from like a vibrational or soul level. And yeah, we all want just those people.
Exactly. I love it. And then I wanted to mention that with like the friends, the family, like the people that we see on a daily basis that are so right in front of us, they are going to be our mirrors. They will always be reflecting back to us what we need to heal, and also our positive traits, our great traits. So use that as sort of like a guiding system. And as Lena had mentioned about narcissists, not easy when you're living under the roof of a narcissist, right? I'm sure a lot of people out there have grown up with like the parents who are like that, but see those opportunities as like a way for you to grow, as a way for you to basically, because a narcissist, they do not know what unconditional love is. So what you have to do in that environment is basically your lesson with them is to find out what love means for you. You have to create your own love. And living with a narcissist, it's not going to feel safe. So you're going to have to also create that safety within yourself as well. And then they also like to pry into our business. They like to take control. So it's all about learning to set your boundaries and holding your power and retaining that power. Those are like the hard lessons of a narcissist. And believe me, it's like once you learn that, you're going to reach a point where even if they do poke holes at you, you're not going to feel a thing. You're going to be in a neutral space. So, yeah.
Like, whew. That's some heavy things to learn. Ooh.
It is. It's not easy. And I know, like, you know, if you, I want to say, you know, if anyone is, has that ability to separate themselves from a narcissist, great. You are already on your way. Don't worry about what other people say. Some people, you know, if a narcissist is a family member and you cut them off, people who don't understand what you're going through, they're gonna be like, oh, but they are your parents, you know, they gave you food, you know, they put like a roof over your head. And recently I heard this quote. It was basically like, you know, a foster home can do that for you. So it's like, you know, you have to really like see beyond like those comments and like those snide remarks of other people. And you have to trust in your ability and your capability to support yourself in a loving way. So it's almost like if you have relationships with a narcissistic parent, you also have to learn how to be a parent for yourself. Yeah, in that sense.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Now let's talk about romantic relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say, I don't know if I want to even say, like, I don't think people that are just, you know, that don't want to grow. I think people that want a really long-term relationship are going to watch these videos, not people that are just, you know, kind of wanting to have fun, because that's not a relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Fun, but not a relationship.
Yeah.
So I think again, it's like you have to grow within yourself so much that there is someone out there for you that's fitting you, or maybe even more than one, of course, depending on, you know, how high up the vibrational level you are. Because if you are a good person and you've healed so much, and you know, the universe won't let you hang. Like, even if one person checks out, there will be like 10 others in a row next door, you know? So don't ever worry about these things. At the same time, again, focus on what you need to heal, and know that, you know, often there is maybe still something that one or the other person is struggling with. It often is, like you just said before, about like safety or loving ourselves. So find out why you may not feel safe right now within your own life, or look at past relationships, what they teach you, etc., so that you can then move on into a new relationship. Or even if you are in a relationship right now, are you communicating clearly? Are you feeling safe? Can you share your feelings? Can you have fun? Can you both be alone? Are you, you know, all these things. Like, it doesn't mean that I won't never be argue. Like, you probably will argue, you know, from time to time, but it's just like the base. Is the base there? And can you then build the foundation of your house, kind of?
Exactly. I love that analogy. But it's so true. It's like when it comes to relationships and dating, you have to be in a space, or I would say even take like a few years or like however long you need to get to know yourself first. And when you're single, don't feel upset when like you see like when, you know, let's say like you're like what almost in your 30s, and back then we used to have like this notion of like society, they have this notion like, oh, you have to get married by like 30 and then have kids at like a certain age. Like, don't beat yourself up if like you have like strayed off of that timeline, because that timeline probably wasn't even your timeline in the first place, right? So when you're by yourself, don't see it as one is a lonely number. It's like one is also like confidence, it's independence, right? It's that entrepreneurship. It's also about dating yourself. So
That's because last time I was thinking, actually single people, they're actually in one person relationship.
Exactly.
It still is a relationship. It's just a one person relationship.
Exactly.
And you have to take care of yourself and learn, like, maybe, you know what, you can even write that down, like, what do you, like, again with the love languages, for example, how do you give love, how do you need love, how can you clearly communicate that, you know, start writing those things down, so that when your dream girl or dream guy comes around, you're like, okay, I already know, I always need a hug, I'm the person, you don't have to buy me something because I don't care, but let's spend, I don't know, this, or do this or that, and here and there. You know, you can already, and the other person will be like, thank God. Yeah. I don't have to search for this shit. I don't have to try to, you know, because maybe they like to, I don't know, gift you a castle or whatever, but you're like, I'm actually not that kind of princess.
Yeah.
So, you know, so, yes.
Exactly. There's just so much advantage to, you know, like just dating yourself and enjoying that process. You know, if you're lonely, ask yourself, why are you lonely? Again, if like you feel like there's like a void or emptiness inside of you, search for it for yourself, because the external, it only fulfills it maybe momentarily, but then it doesn't solve the problem. It's like more rooted with it. So it's when you get to know yourself, you essentially, you know, like your truth, you know what works for you, what doesn't work for you, so you get like a clearer picture. And when you meet that person, you can be totally transparent, you know, with them, and also be open to opportunities. I know like in movies and stuff, they always have like, oh, there's just like that one person, you know, oh, he is the one or she is the one. I feel there's no such thing as that. And if you ever like limit yourself to that one person when they don't really want to be there, you're actually blocking yourself off to like potentially other good people that want to like come into your life. And that is so important. So when you're able to validate yourself and feel and know and see your value and your worth, the other people are going to see that as well. And that's how you're going to draw in like better people. Although sometimes we do need to learn lessons. So you're going to, you know, the relationship isn't like smooth. Sometimes you're going to meet certain people and then they trigger you, and then you recognize, well, that's not me anymore. And then you grow and then they go away, and then someone else comes. So it's how you learn and evolve on your relationship. It's different. Some people, they prefer to, you know, have like that one single relationship with themselves before they meet the other person. Whereas other people, they tend to go through one relation after another. They kind of like clear their traumas that way. So there's nothing is like set in stone, but most important, it's not about them. It's always about you. Yeah.
And also with that, like being a lone wolf kind of for a longer time, like don't judge yourself. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that, and we talked about this before, you may even not be rejected or whatever, but you being alone might be a protection for you, actually, because what if you end up with someone that's actually a very bad person, and thankfully you never met that person, so now you're happy there eating your own ice cream instead of crying in the corner because someone was stupid, you know? So think about it in that way, that it's a protection, that you only ever, it's always the divine timing will happen when it's time, not before, not after, when it's time. And the other thing is also, like, don't judge yourself if you feel lonely from time to time.
Yeah.
Like, it's normal sometimes to be like, oh, I just want to be with someone, you know? But then always remind yourself, I prefer to be alone now and then be with the right person, because it wouldn't bring you, it would, I would say 100% make you even more miserable being with the wrong person. Instead of just crying now and then being like, okay, now I went through that again, or however, you know, and then it's like, okay, now I pick myself up and I'm treating myself like my partner would do.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm just going to share like my quick experience. So for me, I've never been in like a romantic relationship. I had people that like I had like crushes on and people that I liked. So there's just been, I want to say just like 2 people that like I really felt strongly connected to. And the first one that I felt strongly connected to, I'm like, thank God we never came together. Okay. It was like, thank God, because I recognized that with that, he was triggering a lot of things within me. So if we were always together, we definitely would have always been fighting. And, you know, if he were like, this was like back then in college when I wasn't like healed, I wasn't even like, awakened yet. I was still very young. So it's like, if he would like see like another woman, I would probably still want him. You know, so that makes like no sense, right? Like now, like the me today, it's like, no, if like he chose someone else, he didn't choose you, move on, Ella. It's like, go on to something else, right? Yeah. But it was like, he taught me to learn about self-worth and like boundaries and all of that stuff. So it was like, after I learned that, it's like, I didn't have any feelings for him anymore. I was like, oh, hey, you know, like whatever. And then the second person, I feel this one, he was more of like a soul kind of connection. I have seen like past lives with him and I had like a crush on him, but then I recognized that we weren't meant to like be together in this lifetime. However, because I admired him a lot and just being around his presence, it inspired me. It activated a few of like my gifts and like my interests. And I recognized from like a past life that he also did the same. So I realized that, our contract for the meeting was so that I could get in touch with those gifts again. And after I realized that, again, like we parted. But you know, it's like it wasn't like bittersweet or anything. It's like it really does come down to like, this is all about you. Like there's no accidents or coincidences. There's certain people that are just placed on your path to help you. Like you can't miss it. What's for you, I feel you can't really miss it. Even the bad things, right? Even, well, there's no such thing as good or bad, but like even the polar opposites or whatever. Yeah.
That is so true. And you learn through people and with people, and and also another thing is energetically, like if you're single and you might be like, ooh, I feel a bit different, or ooh, I feel good, or whatever. Sometimes you also feel other people, like you might already feel the other person that you might draw in, actually. You know, you never know. But like you said, don't stress over it. Just focus on yourself. I don't know, send that anonymous person love and all the good, and be like, okay, when you want to come, you come. I'll be ready by the time, because I know you only come when I'm ready to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I know. And I guess we can talk about friends, right? Like the friendships that we have. I feel, what Lena touched on earlier is that, yes, you're going to have like 2 types of friends. The ones that are basically, you sort of like, you grow apart as you proceed onwards on your journey. And then the ones that stay with you for life. So the ones that stay with you for life, you really want to show like your gratitude, be thankful for them, and really appreciate them. And then I also want to mention, sometimes there are those in-between friends wherein they don't really, they grow with you, but then they grow with you to a certain extent. And then it's almost like they kind of keep you around for like convenience, because you guys like know each other for a long time. For like those friends, I'd say, you know, you want to just be a bit, I wouldn't say be careful, but just be aware that they may not be 100% there for you. So in those moments, again, it's all about like loving yourself, and you'll reach a point where you're probably going to have to be the one to like sever those ties, because to them, they still think that, oh, I've known you for so long, I still want to be like friends with you. But then you guys might have like opposing views, or like when you go through something that's like, you know, like a struggle, and you really need like the support of like good people, or like the support of like your close circle, and they're just not there for you, it's okay. It's like, let them go. So I had to do that back then when like I parted with like my parents, because like she was like, I knew her since like childhood. We were good friends, but I have to admit that like I did feel our friendship, I mean, goes back to like the foundation, right? Our foundation, it wasn't really solid in the first place. So when it reached a certain point, it started to wobble. So like when I parted with like my parents, I had like two friends. So she wasn't really supportive. She was like, you know, like your parents are still your parents. You should, you know, like live under their roof. You know, you should always like go back to them and all of that stuff. She was completely opposed about it. My other friend, when she heard that, you know, I left my parents, but, you know, because they're like narcissistic, she totally understands. Even though she never had gone through a narcissistic experience, she does know who they are, what they do. She completely understands. And she basically supported me. She's like, you know what, Ella, you know, you do what you need to do, and I'm here if you ever like need any help or anything. So those are like the types of friends that will like walk with you. Yeah.
That is so true. And also, I think your friends might not necessarily like your best or closest friends. Like, I would say it doesn't mean that you don't grow your group of friends, but you will always have this kind of core group of friends that you will always have. And then you have also other ones that you occasionally touch on or whatever, and they can also become these close friends. But I mean, I wouldn't limit, oh, you only can ever have 5 friends or whatever, you know. But normally you just feel within yourself who truly is there for you and not. And sometimes you also go through phases, like sometimes you actually talk with a friend like maybe daily, you know, and other times you have friends whom you only talk like, I don't know, every 2 weeks or once a month, but it's still the same feeling. Because if it's always the feeling like where you ended the conversation kind of last time or something like that, the feeling, and it's again when you start talking again, it's the same, then you know, okay, this is a real friend, because it always feels like home or like family, and you can kind of, I wouldn't say rely on them, but you know they're there. Another thing about friends and relationships, and I have to say I'm someone that struggles with that, to ask for help sometimes. When I'm very down, and I'm learning that right now because I'm reaching out more to my friends. When I'm down, I usually go through it alone. But now I know I can go through anything alone. So now I'm like, okay, I know what friend I can call for what kind of, or if they feel annoyed by me or not, you know. It also depends on, you also have to remind yourselves, okay, what is your friend going through it now? You should not barge in on your friend, being like, this is like happening, whatever. Like send them a text, be like, hey, can I call you? Do you have time? Because XYZ, I feel sad or whatever. And it really will feel better talking to someone that loves you. Like really, it helps you, because like we said before, with the parts of you not loving yourself or judging yourself, your friend will be like, hey, you can go through this. This is not a big of a deal. You know what? I have this perspective on it. Why don't you try this or that? Like really, like go to your friends, talk to them, call them, whatever. Don't barge in on them. You know, be respectful of their space, because maybe they aren't in the mental capacity or whatever capacity to deal with that. But just in general, like try to open up more, because the more vulnerable you are, the more also these people are vulnerable with you. Like, not that I haven't been vulnerable with my friends. I mean, they know everything kind of, but more in the sense of crying with them, because I don't want to make them sad. But you know, maybe they also need to be sad at that moment. If you know what, maybe they also are someone that don't cry easy, or don't seem don't normally have a reason to cry, and then it's like, okay, let's have a crying party together, because you know sometimes we need to cry, and then everything is better.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love how you talked about not asking or like not asking like the questions. Like even I feel like the like for my personal experience and from like the people that I know, a lot of the times they don't know that they need to ask like the questions. They don't know that they need to reach out for like help because it's been placed like that notion that like they should be able to handle it. Like there's like that expectation, that unrealistic expectation that's like placed on them. Like no one is happy 24/7. That's not realistic. That's not realistic. You know, it's like if someone was happy 24/7, I would feel that like they might have like numbed themselves to a certain
Yeah. Or
yeah.
or just pretend to be happy.
Exactly. They have probably been like heavily traumatized actually, you know, when we look at it that way. So it's important to be vulnerable. And when you do get into a relationship, be it friendship, family, partnership, you want them to be vulnerable to you as well.
Yeah.
You want them to like open up. And a lot of the times people they don't open up unless they feel safe. And it's funny because sometimes we might trust that person 100% and we lay it all out there, but then they themselves, it's not so much us, but it's maybe like some sort of insecurity that they feel within themselves that they just aren't ready yet to open up to you. And it's okay. Like don't force it because that's only going to make them like withdraw back. I see that a lot, you know, like with like relationships, like usually it's like the girl is like more open and then the guys are kind of like, well, I'm not there yet, and then the girl starts to doubt, well, do you love me or do you not love me? It's like relax, it's like chill, you know, like let him, yeah, it's like yeah. And I feel, you know, it's also like if you really like love someone, or especially when you feel like you've like met like that person that's gonna be your potential partner, it can be scary because you're like, oh my god, the real deal is here, like what do I do? Like it's like
yes.
yeah, I've seen that like the guys and the girls they get caught off guard is what
I want to run.
Yeah.
This is real. This is like
exactly. So but and you know it's like in those moments I say go with the emotion, go with what you're feeling, and it's okay to lay it out there. I think a lot of relationships, some people they don't want to open up is because they fear rejection. Or maybe like in childhood when they were being open and honest, like people are like, oh, you shouldn't say that. And so like they always just like kept it sealed, like tight lid, like iron up on like their heart and everything. So.
And then we go back to what you said before, which is what's meant for you will not pass you. AKA the right person at the right time who is ready for you will not reject you, whatever you say. Like you can say, I have done X, Y, Z in the past. I'm not proud. That person will be like, it's okay. I still love you. You know,
exactly.
They will not run it. They might be a bit fearful, you know, be like, help, because it's real. But they hopefully, to everyone out there, don't run away.
Exactly. And it's also, you know, I feel like when you meet like your soul tribe, your guys are going to have some similar experiences. May not be exactly the same, but it's like they're like, oh, I've been there, I totally get it, like I understand, and it's like what Lena said, it's gonna feel so much at home. But just remember, it's because we're always attracted to that home feeling, you want to make sure that that home energy that you carry with you is the energy that you want to see fit for you. Because if you grew up in a home where it's toxic, there is a repeating pattern that you're going to bring that toxicity into like a relationship, or like you'll be drawn to a partner that's going to remind you of the safety of home, which was toxic. So that's something that you want to like clear, so you can have like that brand new experience of a healthy, unconditional loving home or loving family relationship. Yeah.
Sure. Do you want to end here?
Yeah, I think we're good. We covered a lot, so it's good. But yeah, thank you guys. And if you ever want to book a session with us, our information and links are down below. As you can see, me and Lena, we like to keep it real. Follow us on Instagram. Like Lena is, I applaud her. Like she put up like a picture of her like crying because like we're like all going through things, and life, it is not easy, but it can be so beautiful. You can ride the uneasy wave beautifully, like put sparkle into everything that you do. Yeah,
it's true. Or it's a thing, isn't it? The thing was like stand in the rain dancing.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes the rain is not feeling good and whatever, but it will stop at one point or another. So
exactly, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, you have to trust the process.
the light is coming.
Yes. All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.